All right. Good afternoon, Ureeka. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Fridays with Phil, brought to you by the United States Black Chambers, Inc. and Comcast Rise. I'm your host, Philip W. Dunn, Program Manager at US Black Chambers, Inc. and USBC Community Admin here on the Ureeka platform. I'm very excited to begin bringing to Ureeka this weekly program that's designed to engage our Comcast Rise recipients and also provide very valuable information to help them along their business journey. Today, I'm very excited and proud to introduce our very first guest, Comcast Rise recipient, Jared Gilmore of Raphael Photography to Fridays with Phil. Jared, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad to have you as a guest, and I'd like to begin by having you introduce yourself, and then, of course, share a little bit about your business to our audience.
Okay, well, first off, I'm Jared Gilmore. I have about 20 years in the photography industry. I started off basically at the end of my college career doing weddings for many of my frat brothers. So that's basically how I got started. But my interest in photography has evolved over the years, where it went from event photography to more portraiture. And then it kind of morphed into a kind of like a thing of its own, where I was just doing kind of like it as a hobby, and then it actually became a business model for me.
Wow, and that's great to hear. I'm always excited to hear about people and how they got started. You know, I want you to tell us, before we begin, a little bit more about your experience with Comcast Rise and how you came to be a part of the Comcast Rise community.
Well, I will tell you, fortunate enough, I was able to establish some contacts within Comcast, whereas Misha hired me to do headshots for her division. And so I was able to photograph about 10 people at that encounter, but I ended up with my, I'm the lead photographer for Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, and I'm also the main photographer for Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. So many times I would interact with different people from Comcast at events. One of our last events, maybe about 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough, I was representing the Houston Forward Times, whereas I'm the lead photographer for the newspaper. And in the event of that, I was able to take it a step further, establish more connections with some of the main persons who make decisions within Comcast. And so about, I say 3 months ago, I was notified that there was an opportunity with Comcast Rise where different member firms had the opportunity to get grant funding because of the impact that COVID has had on so many businesses. And so as a result, I applied, and I'm here today to say that I was one of those recipients.
Oh, wow. And that's a, interesting way to bring us all the way to how you got here to Comcast Rise. And I definitely appreciate hearing about that journey. And it's one of the reasons that United States Black Chambers is really proud to partner with Comcast Rise and as well as Ureeka, because we feel like they're providing businesses from our community with access to, the right amount of funding, access to information, access to resource. And so I'm glad to hear that you were able to, make that connection and bring it here today. So we're gonna walk through sort of the journey that you've had in your career. And I know you talked about, taking pictures, for your fraternity brothers' weddings. Someone has asked in the chat, which fraternity is that?
Well, there's only one great fraternity, and that is Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Okay, so that answers one question, but the next question that we have is around, when did you realize that you had a passion for photography?
Well, I tell you what, the passion was always there, but did I look at this as a viable option to take care of my family? No, because of my background, I'm one of those people who I was big into the sciences. And so When I did research for Waterways Experiment Station for 5 years, uh, my path or my journey in photography kept changing as my career changed. So I always used the camera as a hobby, but it started to morph and change about 12 years ago. 12 years ago, as I finished up my chiropractic degree, I was able to start teaching anatomy and pathophys for nursing school. And so once I became a full-time professor, uh, I was asked by a couple of publishing companies to review some of their ancillaries. As a result, I started writing textbooks. Once I started authoring textbooks, I noticed the content that I needed to incorporate into my lab manuals was not there. And so again, the camera or the photography in me was drawn out because I needed to capture images that are detailed to the information that I needed to teach in my classes. As a result, I started doing more lab lab-based images, whether it was shooting photographs of models, whether it was photographing specimen. And then I started developing and started dabbling into learning how light works in a different way. The crazy thing is, I didn't even know I knew photography on this level. I just knew in high school that I was good with physics. So really and truthfully, most people would say, well, Jared, you didn't go to an art institute or anything like that. So how do you feel as though you're on that level? My creative eye coupled with my background and my ability to interact and kind of like play with different things. And then there's, of course, YouTube University. So as I have a question about something and I needed to achieve, I would research it, put the time in. And so today, I'm kind of known from an international standpoint because through Tri-County Regional Bank Chamber of Commerce, I was able to visit the Caribbeans. We did Belize, we did the country of Haiti, we did the country of Jamaica. And so because we were going on these, I don't want to call them excursions, but because we were going on these missions, I was able to photograph for different governments and see things totally different. And so the crazy thing is, my journey with photography has evolved through my associations with various groups and other businesses. And so I'm kind of blessed in that sense.
That is a blessing. So let me get this straight. So you didn't go to photography school. You didn't
I did not.
train as a photographer. You didn't do, that traditional path, right? This is a passion in combination with just practice in association with your respective occupation, right? And so then you sort of picked up on this passion and some things started happening with the associations. And fast forward to today, we have J. Raphael Photography, right? So this is a message to folks out there that may be listening or that will listen later, is that, you don't have to follow that traditional, route. There is a path for you. You just have to find that path, right?
Totally agree. Totally agree. I cannot stress the fact that here's the funny thing. By the time I was able to see my career as an anatomy instructor was almost to the point where either I needed to go in administration to make more money, or I needed to diversify, which I had already started writing books. I needed to do something. And so I was introduced to the oil and gas industry. Well, here's the crazy thing. I started doing drilling fluids engineering for Halliburton. As a result, I worked 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, which never worked out to be that case because there's times I stayed out there for 5 weeks. However, I was seeing that I was making just as much money in photography as I was in the oil field. And so when you start looking at it, you end up taking a step back. Okay, I enjoy photography. It's not even considered work for me, and I'm making just as much money. Now, fast forward, the oil field goes down. as a result of COVID. And now I'm shooting full time. And now that COVID is kind of eased back and the business world's kind of opened up here in Houston, I'm making just as much money with photography. So the unique thing is, yes, I suffered with COVID, but through COVID, it's now allowing me to do my true passion and still be able to provide for my family.
Right. Right. And so I'm glad to hear that too, because I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs that they have their toe in the water, and they also have that 9 to 5, mentality. And it sounds like, and this has been the case for many entrepreneurs where, they've had that experience, but then they've been pushed into full-time entrepreneurship by COVID. And some sink and then some swim. And I think it sounds like you had the preparation over the last couple of years that allowed for you to swim.
Well, I will tell you this. It was not easy. And grateful as it may seem, totally is. Comcast Rise has afforded many business firms, just like they have for J. Raphael's photography, the economics that help us kind of weather the storm. So we have more time to get it right. And Philip, you know just as well as I know, it is imperative to have the right network. Many people feel as though either I can do this on my own or nobody's going to help me, so I must be the sole or the Lone Ranger. It's
right.
not possible, especially in this climate. Many people who have that mentality, they will sink.
Right.
But if you have the right associations, this is the one thing that I have to drive home to everyone. Having the right network will help you determine your net worth. Why do I say that? One of the most important aspects of a chamber of commerce, in my opinion, is the advocacy. You need someone that's going to help you and speak up on your behalf. There's so many things that we do not understand in business that if we get with like minds and they point us in the right direction of where the resources are, that's why I'm really grateful to Ureeka as they're looking to partner and put business firms that's in my situation. And in order for us to get to the next level, figure out, diagnose what are some of the challenges that are going on, and then pinpoint how can I best help you grow. Because here's the unique thing about it. If we don't grow, if we don't evolve, we die.
Right.
And COVID taught us that better than anybody. That experience alone should be an eye-opener for everyone. Think about this. You have different, shall I say, entities, whether it's a school, whether it's certain businesses, the traditional way of doing things is no more.
Right.
So you have to be able to adapt so that you can survive. It is essential for survival. And because of platforms like Ureeka, different Chamber of Commerces, they are now wisening up and saying, hey, look, you can do things in more of an efficient manner if you just utilize the social media or multiple platforms.
Right.
You and I both know we have to have different means of reaching people. The most important commodity there is people. Having the right people could make our lives much easier.
Right. And let's talk about that because, Garrett, I follow you on social media. I'm a big fan of your work. I've seen the quality of your work. And then I've also seen that, you have a following that works on your behalf, right? You have people that are recommending you for photography, for different, opportunities. Talk to us about that. And you just kind of, touched on it a little bit, but talk to us about the importance of building those relationships on social media as well as outside of social media?
Well, I'll be the first to tell you, most people, just like I had this mentality where I felt family is going to support you and help you build your business. That cannot be farther from the truth. The truth of the matter is you will find more people helping you from a cold market than your warm market. Now, I'm not here to say that's not going to be the case for everyone, but you're going to have very few family and immediate friends that's going to help you. Whereas you're going to find people that you may have met at a chamber meeting, people you may have met at a Walmart or a grocery store that are willing to help you. Now, here's the one common denominator that we could all utilize: social media platforms.
Right.
I cannot stress enough the importance of building up those platforms, because you can be in a multitude of places from the privacy of your own home. Just think about it. We're here having a conversation right now on platform where we're able to stream live, reach hundreds, if not thousands of people, share this content on multiple platforms, whether it's 5 to 7 platforms. I'll give you an example. On my LinkedIn, I have almost 20,000 friends. Most of those people I may have met whether I was in the avenue of teaching or practicing chiropractic or going to church with, or whatever the case may be. But because we're utilizing social media platforms, we're able to disseminate and get information out to people that we never may have ever met in life.
Right.
And that's the beauty of this. So for me, I encourage all business owners, make sure you build up your social media platforms. Most businesses or most opportunities may even come to you because of your following.
Right.
If you have the right amount of following, then most people say, well, hey, let's do business with you, because I know through you, I'm going to get my content out to potentially this many people.
Right.
And the last thing I'll say is this: building you a team of 7 people. This is like the best advice I can give any small business owner like myself. Building you a team of 7. There's a power in the number of 7. If you were to take 7 people and those 7 people share your content, think about how fast you could go viral or get your message out just by 7 people. Think about it like this. If I have 5,000 friends, if I'm friends with those 5,000 and only 100 of them share, just imagine how quickly you can build your message or get your message out to the masses. You and I both are products of using social media in that format.
Yes.
And it does, and here's the catch: it costs nobody anything.
Costs you nothing. Yeah. Yeah. See, I love that. And it speaks to, the age that we're in, right? That, the relationship building, understanding social media, and then also putting out the right amount of content and the right quality of content. It can either make you go viral or it can keep you in the game long enough. You and I both know photography is a very competitive industry. You have different, events that need to be photographed and captured and memorialized. But you have a ton of people now who have stepped into this industry. You have people that they'll take their cell phone and and they think that they've become an instant photographer now. So not only are you competing against other photographers, but you're competing against amateurs who are capturing these images. Talk to us about how you compete in the marketplace and what you do to outperform your competitors.
Here's the funny thing. Most photographers feel as though they have to compete. I'm gonna be honest with you. Philip, I don't feel as though I have to compete. And here's why. The market is so vast, it's so large, where not only am I not competing, but I'm not even concerned. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not an arrogance, it's about a mentality. Here's the old me. The old me felt as though I had to compete. So when you're trying to be competitive, you're trying to go, oh, this person is doing that, let me do that. This person's doing that, they're being successful, let me do that. The worst thing you can do is chase. If you're chasing everybody who you think is good at X, Y, and Z, you're going to lose sight of your vision. The most important aspect of any business is understanding your why and being true to who you are. I'm not saying you don't have to perfect your craft. You just said it already. Everybody I meet has a cell phone, including kids that's 5 and 6 years old.
Right.
They all can take a picture. But just like I've told people in the chamber, there's a huge difference between a picture taker and a photographer.
Right.
Everybody's a picture taker. But photography, you have to understand angles, lighting, intensity. What is the mood you're trying to capture? For me, I specialize in HD photography, where I do headshots, I do alter ego, I do certain things that set me apart from others. When I shoot a wedding or an event, I am all about the mood in essence, because I tell everyone it's imperative that you begin with the end in mind.
Right.
Most people ain't gonna understand that. But I don't want to be sitting at a computer all night trying to edit images. So I have to get my images right in camera, number one. That's important. But number two, making sure I have enough in terms of that's in the field of view. So therefore, I ain't got to crop it down because I've already captured the image.
Right.
In addition to that, I'm shooting that image 2 to 3 times. I'm shooting it wide enough where I have enough around it. I'm shooting it close enough and focusing on the right thing so that my images come out crisp and sharp so I don't have to edit. Lastly, I will tell you this. You asked me what sets me apart. Nobody can be you. That means we're all unique. I have been shaped by my experiences. All we are a sum of our experiences. So for me, what makes me unique, and the reason people are willing to spend $550 for a photo shoot with me, because there's somebody who's doing it for $100, there's somebody doing it for $49.95, but because of my experiences and the product that I'm going to produce in the end, they're willing to say, Jared, you're worth that money.
Right.
I have people right now that spend $1,000 with me just for senior portraits because they tell me, Jared, you're worth it. You just shot all of my kids and they know what they're getting with me. Right. I have, crazy as it may seem, I used to deal with people that said, well, such and such gonna give it to me for $150. What can you do for me? I don't play Groupon. If you want the Groupon, go to Groupon or go to whomever, because there's a reason that you're trying to come to me and play let's make a deal. I don't do that. Because if I do that, Philip, I will lose all credibility with my customers. I know my customers are not the most frugal or cheap ones. I know my customers are willing to spend the money because they know what they're getting. I do a lot of what I call HD canvases. My images can be blown up to a billboard. I have clientele who their images are appearing for TV ads, they're appearing on billboards, they're appearing on HD monitors now that they're being replacing the billboards. So I have to shoot at a higher level. They know what they're getting with me. You can't do that with an iPhone. Right. You can't do that with no cell phone. I don't care what quality they say that cell phone can do. It can't do that. Honestly, I don't feel as though a cell phone is going to replace this.
Right.
I don't care what kind of technology they come out with. It's about lighting. It's about knowing the aperture, knowing the f-stop, knowing your settings, knowing the right angle. So for me, it's an art form that has serious science behind it. And because of that, I feel as though that sets me apart.
And you know, I was going to ask you, there is, you know, automation creeps into every industry, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
what I've seen with photography is, you know, they now have the booths that you set up, or they have the standing, you know, camera, and
Yes,
all
sir.
you have to do
The 360.
right, the 360, and so it seems like that automation is trying to creep into your industry, but it sounds like there's
Automation has
still
been
so
doing it
much.
for a while.
Yes, yes, and it sounds like there's still so much craftsmanship or and professionalism built into photography that you can't truly replace a photographer. Is that correct?
That is correct. Think about it like this right here. You got satellite imagery, you got drones, you got things that photographers can't do
Right.
because, you know, think about it, I'm flying a drone and I can get it to the craziest angle possible and I can get this aerial shot. But at the end of the day, you could never replace human touch. In every in every career choice I've been in, they have always wanted to take technology and try to replace man. It never will happen because you got to write a program for that computer to do exactly what it says. But there comes a time when it takes human intelligence to say, hey, I need to change this little deal in order to get this exactly right. And that's the part we could never, no matter how much artificial intelligence we produce, it's never going to replace it. It's
Right.
been like that for chiropractic. It's been like that for teaching. Even though we utilize technology to help us enhance our abilities or make it where I can be sitting in my office and I can teach class in China, yes, that's true. But it would never replace what I am able to do as a human being.
Mhm. Wow, I'm so glad to hear, you know, how deeply invested, how deeply committed you are to the profession, and how protective you are of the profession as well. Because, you know, just like with many who begin entrepreneurship, they want to build something, they want to build a legacy that they can then pass down generation to generation. And so I'm glad to hear that. I also want to touch on real quick. I know that you are an alumni of prestigious HBCU. I wonder if you could tell us where you went to school.
Well, I went to Alcorn State University where I was the mascot. I was on SGA. Matter of fact, my wife was the SGA president. And so we're diehard alums of Alcorn and we believe in it. For the simple fact, HBCUs have now started to get their just due. Because again, think about a place like Alcorn State University. Right now, we're celebrating 150 years. And because of this celebration, you think about this is the first land grant institution in America. That says a lot. And most of your HBCUs have that history, but they have that history about making sure we're prepared. What was the reason why HBCUs were started? If you think about that in context and put that in perspective of all the things that's occurring now, everybody now understands the vast importance of HBCUs, and you see us shooting right to the top.
I definitely see that, man. And today I'm sporting a Texas Southern University polo. My wife is an alumni of Texas Southern University. She loved it, and so I'm definitely proud to be associated with that HBCU. I tell you what, Jared, this has been an awesome 30 minutes. It flew by so fast. And I know that you have a lot of information to share, and hopefully you'll get a chance to share more of that in Ureeka. What I'd like for you to do is I'm going to bring up some information about the chamber, but there was a question. If you could share information about your website and then some of
Okay.
your social information, if you could put that into the group chat as well as tell us in the video, that would be awesome.
Okay. I'm easily to be found. You'll see us on all social media platforms. That's one thing I encourage all business owners to do is to put make all your taglines the same. So you're going to notice it's at JRAPHAEL photos. So it's J Raphael photos on all social media platforms. If you were to Google J Raphael photography, you're going to notice it's going to pull up all of our websites, where we have two websites. One is our traditional website. The other one is where we pretty much put all of our images on, so that as we go to events, you can pull your images, you can purchase your images, everything is on the website. And that should pretty much give you all the information for J Raphael's photography. I'm gonna spell it one more time because that makes it easier for everyone. It's J space RAPHAEL, which is my middle name, and then photography. So J Raphael's photography.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. And that's going to take us out of here. I'm going to share a little bit of information about the United States Black Chamber. Today's event, of course, is brought to you by the United States Black Chamber. Resources provided by the USBC Community Economic Development Corporation. I wanted to share also that we do have some information, some virtual webinars and on-demand resources. You visit www.usblackchambers.org/webinars. You'll find that we have all of our on-demand content available for all of our businesses, all of our entrepreneurs to go and browse and learn and build along their journey. This recording will also be placed out on our virtual webinars and on-demand resources next week. So be on the lookout for that. And then lastly, for up-to-date information and resources on the CARES Act and navigating COVID-19 for small businesses, be sure to visit usblackchambers.org/CARES Act. You can also join the United States Black Chamber or find a local Black Chamber in your area to join. Jared definitely mentioned, the importance of working closely and being associated with a Black Chamber. We also have the weekly webinar series that we're going to be doing here every Friday. So I want to make sure that folks get registered every Friday. Every Friday, we're going to bring in a new guest. Hopefully as dynamic and engaging and inspirational as Jared every single week. So he definitely set the bar high for a lot of our future guests on today. So what I want to do now, Jared, I want to thank you, sir. This has been a tremendously inspirational, informative broadcast, and I definitely appreciate you for taking the time out. I know you have a busy weekend. But you have certainly brought the energy, and judging from the comments, there was a lot of great engagement here. And so we wish you luck, and we wish you all the success that we know that you're going to get. And so with that, I want to thank everyone for attending, and I want to thank everyone who's going to be watching this in the future. So until the next time we all talk, this has been a Fridays with Phil. I'm Philip Dunn, Program Manager, US Black Chambers, Inc. Remember, it's our time. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great weekend.